Hey, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good night, a good Friday night. I'm here with my guy, Ryan O'Hare from O'Hara Sports. How you doing this evening, sir?
I'm sleepy. How about you?
You're sleepy. It's only 7 o'clock.
Yeah, well, I've been pulling like 70 hours this week, so I'm like,
Oh, okay.
I got
Okay. Well,
coffee, so we're in good shape. How are you?
okay, good. I'm doing well. And we won't be on too long because we have one topic. And that is whether or not Subriel Matias is the real boogeyman or is it possibly somebody else? You and I had a conversation and we kind of brought up Devin Haney's name. So, what are your thoughts on this subject? Like, what are some of the reasons that you're questioning whether Subriel Matias is the boogeyman or is not the boogeyman?
I think he's a good fighter. He really is. I just think his style is bad for Devin Haney, personally, because Haney can fight forwards and backwards. He's got probably the best jab within from 135 to 140 pounds, and the way Matias fights, he likes to fight. He's a phone booth fighter, a really really great phone booth fighter. Devin Haney is too smart to get in a phone booth fight with Super Matias. It's going to be a completely different fight. I would expect him to fight similar to how Shakur Stevenson fought Edwin De Los Santos, but more exciting. I don't think Haney is gonna just run around and stink out the
Yeah,
fight. He's gonna make it exciting, but if Matias can catch him with the shot, it could change the fight because we saw him get hurt against Jorge Linares, and he had to hold for large portions of the last few rounds. If he tries to hold with Matias, he can get away with it. Linares, I don't know if he gets hurt against Matias in the same fashion. I think Matias could probably stop him because it's Matias.
yeah, yeah. No, well, it does just take one shot. Um, Hello, everybody who's in the chat. Thanks for tuning in.
Howdy, Lizzie.
So Jesus said Matias is too strong and dangerous at 140 unless you pay him off. So he is strong. He is dangerous. But as you were saying before, um, unless to me, unless somebody stands right in front of him, which we know Haney would not do that,
hmm
he would have to just catch him, coming in or coming out, because it seems as though whenever Matias even just like touches somebody, he's so strong. I mean, he knocks people down. He knocks people out. Um, so the I guess it was the last two fighters, and there's been others that have been undefeated that Matias has fought.
hmm
His only loss was to Anayan. I'm sorry,
Yeah, Petros
and
Ananyan.
Ananyan,
I think that might have been
Ananyan.
during COVID or maybe right before it.
I think it was like 2000
2020.
20, yeah, 2020.
Was that on
And
the Wilder card?
gosh,
I think it might
yes,
have
it
been.
was on the Wilder card. It was on the
Wow.
Wilder card. Yes,
I
it
remember that.
was.
I was there.
Oh, you were? That was a
I
long time
was
ago.
there.
Everybody had, I think people had their masks on, right?
Yeah.
But
I did.
but no, yeah. No, it seemed like you know, Anayan and say it again. And I'm so sorry to chop
Ananyan, I
people's
think I
names.
could be wrong.
Ananyan, yes. He was coming around the guard. He was throwing uppercuts. He was taking some shots. Because Matias does have a high guard, but coming around it or coming up underneath, he was able to be effective. Um,
And he dropped him too in the seventh
yeah,
round.
yes, he did, which was something. And Devin does the same thing. Like he comes around the guard, he comes up the middle, he has beautiful body shots, beautiful uppercuts. But he's got some legs. He's not just gonna stand in front of anybody as we've seen. Um, and
And he can roll with hooks too. Um,
absolutely.
the shoulder roll. It's just a completely different fight. And I had someone tell me earlier, they were like, well, if it was a street fight, Machias would probably win. Yeah, he probably would. Guess what? That's irrelevant. It's a street fight. It's
That is
boxing.
irrelevant, right? They're not going to get paid for a street fight, and nobody's going to care except for the people watching or pulling out their phones. It doesn't
Or
mean
people who think
anything.
Rocky Five's a good movie.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But it seems like Matthias's past opponents as well. They just like kind of shell up. They just shell up and take these punches, which is not smart. And I we know that Devin is not going to do that, and we've seen him grow so much over these last few years. I mean, look what he did to Regis, and people said that he had no power. You know,
Hmm.
and he busted him up. And I personally thought it was a 50-50 fight. I thought it was going to be a 50-50 fight. Not when I was watching it, but I did think that it was going to be 50-50.
I forget
Did
what
you
I
know it was going to
tweeted.
go
I
that
think
way?
I tweeted 117, 111, and then it ended up being
Okay.
12-0. I was like, wow, it was even more one-sided than I expected.
Hi, Nika. We need you because I'm trying to put the comments on the board and I can't. I don't know how to do it.
I'm
So,
not done.
and Nika said, hi, Ryan.
Hi,
Yeah, I'm
Nightbed, how
like
are you?
clicking on it and it's like not coming up. So,
Another
yeah,
another thing I noticed with past Matias opponents, they don't fight smart. Period. It's not just that they shell up either. They literally come out blazing from the gates and go oh, and Matias, he just stands with a tight guard and he just lets them waste their energy. And so he
absolutely.
waits and waits and waits
Yeah.
and then he picks it up by the fourth round. Next thing you know, it's over.
Yeah, it's
So
over because he can take those shots. He
yeah,
can take them. AH Money Mob. Hello, hello. Everything's good. Yes, Micah, log in. Help me. Help me. Help me with these
of the
comments.
guys that have mentioned Matias's name,
Uh-huh.
maybe in passing or in interviews, there's
Right.
two people I think that there's only two people at 140 I can see that could potentially beat Subriel Matias, Devin
Who do
Haney and Arnold Barboza.
mm,
Barboza has a style that could cause Matias problems, but he also has a style that can get him in trouble at the same time. It's just one of those things.
you know what? I agree. Like I
Yeah.
totally agree with you on those two things. And you know, Devin, like we talked about Devin, you and I were having the conversation and that's why his name came up. But absolutely, I agree with you on that. And then, but Jesus says Matias can be outboxed at 140. Jose Ramirez beats Matias. Um, and then H Money is changing our subject, and that's fine with me. Boots to Bud to send the contract, and Bud didn't say nothing back. Well, I will say this really quickly.
Yeah,
That Boots
I don't think
did
Jose
tweet
Ramirez
that
can beat Matias personally.
after he logged off. Yeah, yeah, I don't think so either.
I just don't know I don't know what his plan is because I remember right after Teofimo beat Josh Taylor, he called out Tio and was like, "Yeah, this is the fight to make." Then Tio's like, "All right, here's a contract," and Ramirez is
Yeah,
like, "No." And I I know what the issue is. It's like he wants to fight him, but he kind of has a bloated perception of his value.
absolutely.
He wants like $4 or $5 million. It's just
Hmm.
not feasible.
It's not feasible.
No, he's got to be more active first of all, um, beat a name, and then you can get that
Yes,
money. And yes, he's a
absolutely.
former world champion, but if you're a former world champion and you're getting a low amount of pay-per-view buys, you can't really justify giving someone $5 million. And
No.
Eddie Hearn, he'll tell you he made a mistake by paying Mikey Garcia $7 million to face Jesse Vargas. He meant it
Yeah.
like we've been the problem, but now we're trying to fix the problem.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And H Money, we will, Nika's in the background. If she wants to come on after Ryan and I talk about this subject, then she can hop on and we can definitely talk about that Bud Boot thing because I got a lot to say about that. But and we look at the opponents that they both had, and we know Matias had some very hard opponents that were undefeated champions. And we know that Devin, he just fought Regis and Loma and Cambosas twice, and Linares, Gamboa, Diaz. We can go on, and he beat them. And even I guess before the Regis fight, I could say that I wasn't quite sold on the power, and I wasn't quite sold on how he was going to fare against some of the bigger opposition. Because yes, he faced some big names, but they were also, I don't want to say at the end of their careers, but they were scooting closer to the end than some of the champions. What say you about that?
Yeah, that's a good point because well, the Lomachenko fight was really close. Linares was towards the end of his career. Jojo Diaz, you never know what version you're going to get. You either
Yeah,
get a guy who's focused, or you get the IDGAF version of Diaz that blows weight constantly.
yeah,
Um,
that's for
and
sure.
speaking of Diaz, reportedly he's not going to fight Floyd Schofield Jr. after all. So
I saw that just today.
mhm. So that's
Yeah, I saw
unfortunate.
that just today. Yeah, and honestly, if and I've said it publicly, I really did not think that Haney beat Loma. I didn't. A lot of people said it was close or whatever, but I felt that he didn't beat him. But
I felt it
it
was
it is
close. I
what
mean,
it
if you
is.
had it 7-5 Haney, that's cool. If you had it 7-5
Yeah,
Loma, that's fine.
right.
It was really close. I mean, I
It
think it
was.
merits a rematch, but I don't think it's going to happen because I don't see Lomachenko going above 135 ever.
No, and why would Haney really give him a rematch anyway? You know what I mean? It's like he
It's a
doesn't
step
have
backward.
to. Yeah, it is a step backwards. And you're right. I mean, it was very close. I thought that Loma like edged it out, but he did like towards the end, and like the last round was the 11th round or whatever. He just totally took his foot off the gas, and so you know, if you wanted to beat Haney, he was gonna have to like step on the gas. So I have a question for you. Do you feel like because we look at the opposition that they both had, and they both had very tough opposition, but Matias does seem to have people that will stand in front of him and don't have legs really, in my opinion. Um, do you think that this is well, obviously it is, but the matchmakers, I mean, they know
Mhm.
how to match their guy. Um, do you think that that is what it's been? Or is he just as great as he is perceived to be? Or both?
I think it could be a combination of both. He really is a good fighter, but he has not faced the best competition. So most of the guys he has fought, they just stand there. They just
Yeah,
throw all their like I said earlier, they throw all their energy away and they stay in the phone booth, and it's just one of those fights. It's
yeah,
kind of like some of Manny Pacquiao's opponents in the Philippines that just stood right in front of him.
yeah,
When he
exactly.
didn't
Well,
have
yeah,
a right hand and it was just the straight left. Those fights were easy, and Pacquiao had to basically prove that as time went on that he was going to become a multi-dimensional fighter, and eventually he did and became one of the greatest fighters ever. Matias is kind of in that same boat right now, except he hasn't had a lot of um, named opponents. I mean, the one thing that people will mention is like, wow, he's knocked out what 4 undefeated fighters out of the last 5 fights. And I
mm-hmm.
think the only person that I had heard of going in, or two guys, I had heard of Jeremiah Ponce, and I knew who Malik Hawkins was. I had no idea
Yeah,
who Ergashev was.
me neither.
No,
No, or gosh, Jukim Jukim. I'd see. I'm so
I
terrible.
didn't
I'm so
even.
sorry.
I skipped over that one.
Yeah, I mean, undefeated, 18-0. Yes, credit to him, kudos to him. But I had never heard of him either. And it happens. I get it. We're building records. He had one loss, which doesn't mean anything to me. Like, I mean, people have come back from worse. But they had to rebuild him. I just feel like Haney has grown so much over these years, you know, and he looks stronger. He's his hooks, his footwork, his reach. He knows his range. His lead hand. He can do anything he wants with it. I'm very impressed with him right now. Like I'm really wondering if he's going to be, the quote unquote boogeyman because really people were calling him out like before the fight with Regis, but it's kind of been a little quiet. It's kind of been crickets. Have you seen anything different?
Yeah, I don't really see anyone calling out Devin Haney. Well, I've seen fake call outs like the one Ryan Garcia made just
Sure,
to
sure.
fight
Yeah,
Raleigh. And the
yeah,
same can be said about Matias because no one's really mentioning his name.
yeah.
And it's just unfortunate with the way
That's
boxing
true.
is right now in the landscape. Everyone's got an excuse. So, well, I don't want to fight this guy yet because, well, I haven't gotten to where I need to be just yet. It's not really
Yeah,
about legacy fights, at least not lately. But I would like to see Matias against a guy that can move a little, like like
Hmm.
Sandor Martin. Sandor Martin would
Yes.
give Matias a good fight.
Oh, definitely.
But Martin's going to go a different direction. Russell's probably going to go a different direction. He's not going to fight Matias right now.
Yeah.
Barboza's called him out. Jack Catterall's probably not going to fight him. Richard Hitchens, probably too young. Regis Prograde just got beat.
Yeah.
Jose Ramirez. It's unfortunate the position Matias is in. It's like he is a boogeyman, but at the same time he's not, because it's just the way that boxing is. Because most of the time, I would say like at least 90% of the fighters that are declared as boogeymen don't end up being boogeyman at the end. That's just how it is. And I think the one guy that some people will know right off the bat, like who was a legit boogeyman, was Mike McCallum back in the day.
Hmm.
Sugar Ray
Hmm.
Leonard didn't fight him. Marvin Hagler didn't fight him. In the end, I don't think McCallum fought any of them. The first guy that was willing to give McCallum a fight was James Toney, and it ended up being one of the best fights of the decade.
Yes. Yes, that
21 by
was.
decision.
Oh, and Al the Pal, we're not said cough on dread.
Okay, I'll explain something about Demetrius Andrade.
Oh.
He wasn't a boogeyman, and the reason why he wasn't. And look, I will say this: I love Dimitri. Most people didn't like Andrade's style. I loved his style, but I also knew he burned a lot of bridges with different promoters. And I'm not talking about one promoter. I'm talking about promoter after promoter after promoter. And I remember I got a story. I was in college at the time, and I got a report from two sources that Andrade was talking about moving to a different company, right? Well, he was under contract with another promoter at the time. And about an hour after that piece came out, I got a phone call from his promoter going, WTF, like, what is going on? And I swear, like, not even 48 hours later, oh, we've announced that Andrade and I are no longer working together. Oops. So,
Mm.
Andrade burned a lot of bridges, and it started, around 2013, right after he beat Brian Rose. He was inactive for a very long time. And I'm trying to remember what else happened. He turned down a fight with Jermell Charlo. And from there, it was difficult for him to find fights. And then he got older. And the biggest fight he got between then and just a few months ago was David Benavidez. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, he got knocked out. It's going to be hard for him to get back up, especially now. How old is he? 34, 35?
Yeah, I don't see his I don't want to say career being resurrected, because I just really didn't think that he had a fabulous career. I think that he was what the things that you said were
Yeah.
happened. But I think that he is going to be a gatekeeper. He's going to be a stepping stone for these up and coming greats. I really do.
I still think
Unfortunately.
he can win a title. I think he can still win a title at 160 because 160 is so bad right now. You have Yanabek,
Well,
yeah, and you
yeah.
have a bunch of guys that I've never heard of. I mean, that was the first time in my life that I've ever seen a unification fight, and I've never heard of the other fighter ever.
That's true. That's true. That's true. No, you're right. Um, so I have a question. Do you think that Haney is more exciting than Shakur Stevenson?
Yes, I would say so. And I say that completely unbiased because in 2018 I was actually at training camp with Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson was there. He sparred Richardson Hitchens. That was a good sparring session. Thought Shakur got the better of him from what I saw. Maurice Hooker was there. Michaela Mayer was there. I was very distracted when she was there, but that's another story.
Yeah.
No, that's the funniest thing. That's the reason that Crawford cussed at me, and he didn't know. Like I was just messing around in the bag, and I was honestly paying attention to her drill, and I just heard, get your fucking hands up. And I looked down, I'm like, holy shit, it's Terrence Crawford. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, good advice. And he just gave me a look like, you weirdo. But
That's
yeah,
so funny.
yeah, I personally, like, even though, like, I wouldn't say I know Shakur on a personal level, but we've
Yeah.
always talked back and forth. and I find Haney to be more exciting. Hope Shakur
Okay.
doesn't hate me for that. But the thing is that
No.
Shakur is either really exciting or he's boring. It's never in the middle. It's either he's
Yeah.
going to be in a good fight or he's
Yeah.
just going to run around and it's a
I
bad
agree.
fight.
Yeah.
With
From
Devin
one extreme
Haney,
to
he's
another.
consistent. We always
He
get a
has
good
been
performance out of him.
consistent. Absolutely. So, um, do you have, I know you're tired, you've been working a long time. Do you have a few minutes to touch on this boots thing that people are coming up, bringing up in the comments?
Oh, of course. Yeah, the coffee's
Okay.
helping. And also,
Okay, good.
props to Mill City Boxing on his interview with Barboza. I listened
Oh,
to it
props to them. They've
a few
got
days
great
ago.
interviews. Absolutely.
Yep.
Props to them. They do an amazing job. I remember, it seems like I remember when they first started and they're just doing amazing. I'm so happy and proud of them for sure. So let me see. So H Money said Christine Boots told Bud to send the contract and Bud didn't say nothing back. So what had happened was Bud is out of the country. I forget where he said he was.
Bali, I think.
But yes, Bali, and I want to go to Bali. He logged off, and once he logged off, then the Boots tweet started coming. I'm not saying that it was done on purpose. I'm not saying that it was planned that way, but what I am saying is, if you look at the timestamps on both, it was after Bud had already gotten off Twitter X. Did you see any of that back and forth?
I mean, I saw some tweets back and forth. I try to avoid that sort of drama. Is this relating to how he was stripped of the title too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the,
Well, the IBF's a very interesting sanctioning body.
yeah.
They hold very strict standards. So if you don't like Joe,
Mm-hmm.
what's his name, the British fighter, Joe Cordina, he gets hurt and they
Joe
strip
Cordina,
him right
yeah,
away. He
yeah,
didn't have to be a
yeah.
two-time world champion. It's ridiculous.
Well,
But
and some how many other champions have held on, for way longer than they were supposed to, even years. Won't name any names. Um,
or just making very bad, or just having bad rankings, like the Charles Martin Vyacheslav
mhm.
Glaskov fight. That was the worst heavyweight title fight in history.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I think the Klitschko Mormek fight may take the cake, given that Mormek only landed 4 punches.
L Dub, shout out to L Dub, shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate y'all so much. Um, so Alex Zimmerman said Boots had 2 opportunities to fight Bud, but went another route. Boots wanted to be the email champ. That's very true. I mean, he did have 2 opportunities, and I don't, I hate that email champ phrase. I do, but he is a champ right now because he did get it in an email. And why would Bud fight him? Like, why should he fight him? You know, um, I don't see any reason. I don't see what the benefit would be to fight Boots other than just fans to be happy. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that he should fight him, and why?
You know what? I mean, it's the best fight that's available right now. I mean, if you go, he can't really fight Charlo. Charlo's in a heck of a lot of legal trouble right now. Tim Zoo's going to fight Lubin. Virgil's not going to fight
Hmm.
Crawford right now. I think
No,
if
wouldn't be
if
smart.
Crawford's going to fight Boots. It's the best fight. Now,
Yeah,
as far as does Boots want to be the email champion? No one wants to be an email champion. They said the same thing about
right.
Haney.
Yeah,
They
that's true.
created the whole franchise belt thing, so Loma didn't have to fight Haney. Like the whole
Yeah,
point of being a franchise champion is that you don't have to fight the mandatories. You can choose your own opponents. And imagine
right.
that Loma doesn't fight the best fighter that's behind him at the time.
Yeah, that's true. You got a point there. Alex Zimmerman said, "Sounds like we're in elementary school. He didn't say anything back. Next narrative is Bud is ducking Boots because he didn't answer a tweet." That's so funny because I mean that's exactly what I thought. And people were blowing up, Twitter X. I can't stop saying Twitter X. Um, and that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, are you kidding me? Like and honestly, he had time the other day. He had time, to talk to Tio, and he had time to talk to the fans that were criticizing. Um, but I mean, he also has a life. He can't just be sitting on social media arguing with people or trying to prove his point. I mean, he doesn't have to prove his point. You know, he is the king right now. He can do what he wants to do. Um, do you think, Ryan, if today, and I'm just, speaking hypothetically, if Bud came out and said, you know what, I'm not going to fight anymore. Like, I don't want to. What would your feelings be on that?
Don't blame him. I don't blame him. I've heard behind the scenes. Crawford doesn't want to fight that much longer anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
He really is. He loves to box, but he does not like the business of boxing. It's kind of like Tom Holland. He loves
Mhm.
acting and being in movies and hates the business of Hollywood. Imagine that.
Yeah, no, you're right. And he's even said it publicly. Shout out to HLD. He said it publicly that he wants to retire before he can't speak anymore or think or whatever. He
Mm,
wants to retire while he's still young and able to enjoy his family. And I don't blame him. Um,
definitely don't blame him at all. Don't blame him at all. And
yeah, no, I
there's
don't
just not a
either.
lot of fights out there. I mean, I don't want to see him fight Canelo. That's insane. Um, there
I,
honestly just isn't enough. Like, go up to 160. I mean, what's the market? The fans don't want to see him fight Yannick.
yeah.
The Charlo fight, eh. The Spence fight, eh. I think I mean, if you want to fight one more time, Boots Ennis would be the guy.
I definitely do not want to see Errol Spence and Bud Crawford too. I don't. Um, who Stephen F. Smith? What's his name? Stephen F.
Espinoza.
Smith. No, Stephen. Isn't Stephen F. Smith the one that does sports, but he does all sports?
Oh,
Oh,
Stephen A.
what's his
Smith.
Stephen A. Smith? My bad. I, so I saw a quote from him, something to the effect of, Spence might as well fight. He's already damaged goods. He might as well get a paycheck. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, he's somebody's son. He's somebody's man. He's somebody's father. Like, he's not just an object for our pleasure. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Not that I respect any of Stephen A. Smith's comments or takes, but that really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, I can see that. Another fight, Teofimo Lopez. Maybe Tio will go from 140 if Tio talks enough. You know, uh,
He's been talking.
Historical example: Floyd Mayweather retired after the Oscar De La Hoya fight. Ricky Hatton ran his mouth, and then Mayweather told Leonard Ellerby, "Make the fight. I want to beat him up first, and then I'm going to retire."
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
maybe that's it. That would be a great fight.
Maybe so. Shut him up. Yeah, HOD. No, it's not Wednesday, but we're just, Ryan and I were having a conversation, and we're like, you know what? Let's take it to YouTube. So that's what we're doing on this Friday because I have nothing else to do, and he's going to go to sleep. So why not
At
hanging
one
out with us
point.
tonight?
But you know what? We should also talk about, oh my gosh, the whole situation with Better Biev and Callum Smith. Uh, that should not have been reported in the first place. An atypical finding is not a positive test. So
Yeah,
people are so. I'll be honest. A lot of fans aren't the brightest, and they're literally saying, "Well, we need additional clarification." The additional clarification was the additional testing that was conducted, which he tested negative for. So, yeah, there was he's clean.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
will say this: I also received a report, a lab report for a fighter, and I did not report it because I went through everything. And they were like, "Oh, this substance has been detected." On the bottom, it says this substance occurred within natural between. I think it was between natural physiological levels.
Oh,
So, yeah,
I'm sorry, Coach Amber. We got a super sticker. Mwah. Thank you so much. Thank
two
you so much. I
dollars.
appreciate you. I don't have a bell. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. Ding, ding,
Enough for
ding.
a breakfast in Cambodia. Nice. Thank you.
Yes. I love it. Thank you. Ryan, I'm sorry. Go
Oh no,
ahead.
you're good. I was just talking about how it's crazy that people like just automatically assumed, like even though that the information pretty much says, hey, it's a clean test. One, it shouldn't have been reported in the first place,
Yeah.
because when you have people that misconstrue things, you end up accusing a fighter of wrongdoing, and if enough people do it, that person's could get sued. And then if you do it to the wrong person, yeah,
That's very true.
I can think of a few fighters that would probably sue somebody if even if the quote unquote reporter, did it in good faith. Like I understand you were doing your job, but the way you worded it, like,
Yeah.
caused
Yeah.
people to like blow up my phone saying that I'm a cheater. So
Yeah. Who did leak it? Do we know? Roddy Yogi asked that.
a writer that recently lost his position, not for that reason,
Oh,
but he
okay.
was recently laid off.
Well, if he's doing things like this, we can understand that. I'm gonna backpedal just a minute. I'm sorry. Alex
No,
Zimmerman had a comment.
it's particularly alarming when the guy has won multiple awards.
Oh, that is.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. I don't know who it is, but I'm sure it'll
Yeah.
come out. Sure, it'll come out. I'm gonna backpedal just a second because Alex Zimmerman said, "I like the Tim Tszyu fight for Crawford." And I was gonna say that I do like that fight too, the Tim Tszyu fight, and I wouldn't mind seeing a Teofimo fight with him, like even more. And this sounds horrible, even more than a Boots fight for me. Like I do want to see Boots fight somebody. I do want to see somebody test him, but I think as far as guaranteed action, and on the edge of your seat, Tim Tszyu and Teofimo to me would be very exciting. What do
I
you
think
think about
Crawford
Tim
would
Tszyu
knock
fight?
out Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu doesn't move his head enough.
Yeah, we can't say that around D Styles because D Styles said no. Tim Tszyu is the new coming of the boxing god. So yeah,
Oh boy.
but yeah.
I
So
mean, I
hopefully
like
he's
Zoo.
watching.
It's just,
I do too. I do
styles
too.
make
I
fights.
do too. But yeah. But yeah, no, I think those would be really really exciting. Roddy Yogi says Tito wants all the smoke. Yeah, he does want that smoke. I think his confidence level is really high. We had Jermaine Ortiz on the show on Wednesday, and we were talking about how Tio is doesn't seem to be locked in, or he doesn't seem to think that Jermaine is going to be a threat because he's already, he was talking about Crawford, and that's not good. What are your thoughts on that? Like, should he needs to be locked in? What do you think?
I think it's a combination of Tio's thinking about the future, but he's also trying to get in Jermaine Ortiz's head too. I think Jermaine Ortiz, you know, yeah, he's a decent fighter. I think Tio could probably get under his skin a little bit. I think that's probably what he's trying to do, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I
He's trying
mean,
to get under Crawford's skin and get under Ortiz's skin at the same time. Tio's
I'm
good at that. Tio's a
he
very
is.
good. He's a good actor. Honestly, he could probably be in a movie. We all remember when
It's true.
going into the Josh Taylor
Hey,
fight, he was
Nando.
saying how he was mentally ill and everything, and everyone just fell for it. And then he goes in and just outboxes the crap out of Taylor. It reminded me when Bernard Hopkins, a part of his tooth fell out or something, like
Hmm.
when before he was fighting Oscar, and at the press conference, I think Oscar asked, what happened to your tooth, and Bernard was just like, it's old age, man. And then Oscar admitted, like, oh, I kind of let my foot off the gas. I'm gonna beat this guy easy, and he got knocked out.
Yeah, he did. I think, but I really think partly what you're saying is right. I think he does have that kind of, I don't want to say vindictive because that makes it seem like he's a bad person. But I mean, when it comes to boxing, you kind of do whatever you need to do. But I kind of feel like it's a little bit of both. I do feel like he does have those mental issues, or he was going through some emotional distress. And then I do also feel like he does play games with people. I think it was a combination of both, in my opinion. Um, so Hasiel, that would be my husband, says Tio needs Ortiz not to box, but rather brawl. Yeah, I agree with that. He does he has trouble with with boxers, and I think that he does get through brawlers easier. What do you think about that, Ryan?
I agree with him on that.
Yeah, I definitely do too. Um, so HOD said he missed the interview with Ortiz. Well, you can just run it back, go back to YouTube, and check out last Wednesday. And somebody mentioned that they like us doing these Fridays. Well, you know what? We might just every now and then jump on here. But I know that you have to go to bed, and I appreciate you so much. Are there any
Oh, of
last words or
course.
anything else you want to discuss before we log off?
Just trying to just trying to think if there's anything. Let's see. Bu- 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 bu.
Oh, Alex Zimmerman said, Christine and Ryan, do you think that Tio can beat Bud?
I think he can.
Mm.
I mean, he might be
D-
the only guy that could.
Okay,
He's got
talk
a style
talk
that can
about
give
that.
Bud problems, but Bud is special, and Tio's really good, and Bud is special, and just the slightest difference can change a whole fight. It really can.
Well, we just said that. Oh my gosh, Coach Amber, ding ding ding. No, I love no. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Thank you. No, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much for that. You're awesome.
I would still
But
pick Bud though, but Tio could
yeah,
definitely beat him.
I mean, there's nothing impossible, obviously, because it is boxing. But I don't think that it would happen. And the reason why is this: like we just talked about it a second ago, that Tio does not do well with boxers. Well, Bud can box, he can brawl, he can switch, he has power, he's freaking slick. He comes from underneath, he comes from the side, he comes from everywhere. I don't see it happening. I'm not going to say that anything is impossible, but thank you, Coach Amber. I appreciate you so much. Yes, I thank you for tuning in. Um, but I definitely would pick Bud, and I would be in total shock if Tio beat him. Like I would be in shock.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, yeah. Every old lion has his day to be dethroned by a younger lion. I totally, totally agree with you, my friend. But I will say this: that day has not come yet for Mr. Bud Crawford. I'm not saying it's not around the corner, but I'm saying today is not the day.
Crawford's gonna get out before he becomes the old lion. That's the name of the
Absolutely.
game.
Absolutely. He's very smart and he's said it very many times. He
Yeah.
has. He really has. So tell everybody where they can find you. I know you're new on TikTok, so tell everybody your social medias and where they can read your articles and everything. Let us know.
Well, thank you very much, Christine. You can find me
Yes.
on New York Fights, nyfights.com. You can also find me on fightsaroundtheworld.com. We just started that website recently with Abraham Gonzalez. That's fightsatw.com. And also, I don't know if I mentioned O'Hara Sports yet on Twitter, but yeah, O'Hara Sports on Twitter /X, and then O'Hara Media on TikTok, where I make videos
Blowing up.
that are sometimes humorous.
They're very humorous. You're blowing up. You're very funny. I think
I try my
some
best.
people don't know that about you, but you're very funny. You really are. Very witty, quick. No, and I just want to thank you for coming on, and I want to thank the chat for coming on. I really appreciate everybody. And every Monday you can catch D Style and I box topics. Wednesday, my girls, Nike and Crystal, Women Crushing It Wednesdays. And then who knows what, I might jump on Fridays and we might have some different people coming on because this is fun. And right now I'm in camp and I have nothing to do on Friday nights. So who knows?
I just
But
noticed something.
would you know that I'm in a dorm?
Ivan Ditchko is now ranked 15th with the WBA. He's
Ah,
that he he became a pro late. He won 2 Olympic bronze medalists. Most people thought he got robbed against Anthony Joshua in the Olympics. Now he's 13-0. He's ranked 15th with the WBA. I don't think he's ranked with the WBC yet.
huh.
Too many damn sanctioning bodies.
Yeah, right? Seriously, there really are.
And
There really are.
he was in Tyson Fury's camp for his last real fight, not the Nagano fight, but he was in his camp for the third Wilder fight and the fight after that. So I was actually the TV producer for his pro debut, and
Oh,
I
really?
joked with him, and it was translated into Russian by his trainer. That
Oh,
he
funny.
looks like I told him he looks like Vitaly Klitschko, just bald.
Oh, oh my gosh. And did he get a kick out of that?
Oh, he laughed. He's like, I get. He's like, translators. I get that all the time. I'm a bald. I'm Vitaly with no hair.
That's funny. Oh, Coach Amber, you call me anytime. You call me anytime, girl. And I'll just say real quick, Alda Pal, it can't be female Fridays because sometimes I'm gonna have men on, like Ryan. So we can't do female Fridays, but we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out. But
Whatever works.
everybody have a wonderful weekend, and thank you so much for tuning in. This was just like spur of the moment, and thank you so much, Ryan. And we will talk soon.
The honor's mine. We'll see you guys later. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
Peace out.